Leaving your wife alone after a deeply traumatic childbirth while your newborn is in the NICU so you can go drink a beer and play Xbox is beyond infuriating. Let's get right into this shocking situation from user dramatic bedroom4425, titled AITA for telling my husband that paternity leave isn't a holiday. 30s F gave birth to our son a few days ago. It was incredibly traumatic. I had a severe postpartum hemorrhage, lost 1.8 liters of blood, and had emergency surgery to remove my placenta. I'm still recovering. Our son was born with pulmonary atresia, with intact ventricular septum, and was admitted straight to the NICU. He'll likely need heart surgery, and we've since been told they've found another abnormality they're investigating. My husband has a son from a previous relationship, Greg. I want to be clear that I have no issue with Greg meeting his little brother or spending time with his dad. I've never asked him to choose between his children. 2 days after I gave birth, I thought Greg's mom would bring him to meet the baby before taking him home. Instead, my husband collected Greg and spent the entire day with him. They went on the London Eye, had lunch, he had a beer, then went home to play Xbox until Greg was collected around 9 p.m. During that day, my husband spent around 20 minutes with our newborn in the NICU and barely saw me. My mom stayed with me on the postnatal ward, but she couldn't come into the NICU, so I was making my own way to see our son while recovering from major blood loss and surgery. When I explained I wasn't upset Greg had visited, but that I hadn't expected to be left alone all day while our baby was critically ill, my husband became defensive. He said he enjoyed spending time with Greg and that he was being a parent. I replied that I wasn't saying he shouldn't parent Greg. I was saying I needed him to be a husband to me and a father to our newborn during what was a medical emergency. When I later explained how serious my blood loss had been, his response was, "My sister lost 5." The next day I told him doctors had found another abnormality with our son's heart. He complained nobody had told him. I pointed out he'd already left because he'd only spent about 20 minutes in the NICU. I've now been discharged, but our son is still in the NICU. I'm exhausted and terrified to leave him, while my husband has again spent the morning taking Greg to the cinema. I finally told him that paternity leave isn't supposed to be a holiday and that I don't feel supported. I said if this is what his paternity leave looks like, I'd almost rather he went back to work because at least then I'd understand why I was doing everything alone. He says, I'm being unfair because he's trying to balance both children. ITA? He claims he is just trying to balance both of his children, but she feels completely abandoned during a terrifying medical emergency. Is he justified in prioritizing a fun day out to keep things normal for his older son, or is he completely failing his wife and critically ill newborn? Let me know who you think is in the wrong down in the comments, moving right along to the next one. Getting mad over a pair of sunglasses is weird enough, but throwing a tantrum over the word for a winter hat takes workplace drama to a whole new level. Let's get right into this bizarre encounter from user 0 Days Grace, titled AITAH for using the word Canadianism with a coworker. Tolwai, 36M, went to get coffee with 3 co-workers, we'll call them Jill, approximately 45F, Jane, approximately 45F, and Jack, approximately 50M. We left the office to go get coffees on a sunny day, and I put on sunglasses. I have sensitive eyes and had laser eye surgery last year, so I generally protect my eyes going out. Jack commented it was weird that I had on sunglasses. I said that I have sensitive eyes. Jack replied that it wasn't workplace appropriate. I said, we're outside going to get coffee. I'm not wearing them in the office. I don't see the problem. Jack continued saying he just thought it was weird I even brought them to work. So I made a joke that I'm a crazy kind of guy. I wear sunglasses in the summer and he might even catch me wearing a toque in the winter. Jill and Jane gave a small laugh. Jack then asked me what a toque is. Jack is an immigrant but has been here, Canada, for at least 20 plus years I believe from previous conversations. So I was a bit surprised he never heard of a toque. I said, like a beanie, a winter hat. He said he's never heard someone call it a toque before. I said, oh, it's a word used in Canada for it. Jack again said that he never heard it referred to as a toque, and then said I must be making it up or that they call it that where I'm from. I said, no, it's just a Canadian word for a winter hat, basically. He said no one here calls it that. He's never heard it before in his life. Jill chimed in and said that yes, people call it a toque, but in the US it's a beanie usually. Jane didn't really say anything. Jack continued to say how that's not true and no one calls it a toque. We kind of let the issue go, but Jack wouldn't and just kept saying how he never heard of it, and I eventually said toque is just like a Canadianism, I guess. He said that wasn't true and just kept going on, which I ignored at that point. We got our coffees, walked back to the office, and I didn't think much of it. Apparently Jack is mad and telling people that I was a real AH about it, using the word Canadianism. I asked Jill and Jane both, and they said I just tried to explain what it was. I didn't really say anything about him, but he must not know what Canadianism means. AITAH for saying toque is a Canadianism. Is the coworker just wildly insecure, or was there a better way to handle his strange fixation? Let me know below. Next story. Below. Next. Raising a child you rescued from a dangerous environment is hard enough, but having them constantly blame you for keeping their biological mother away will eventually make anyone snap. Let's get right into this heavy family conflict from user additional _singer 474 titled AITA for telling my daughter her bio mom didn't love her more than drugs, that's why she couldn't see her. I have explained a million times, I have shown court documents, I have had the frank hard conversations with her. It doesn't change her opinion. I can't get her in any kind of therapy she refuses. I feel like a piece of shit, so I am coming her. I got custody of my niece when she was 3. She was taken away by the state, and the parent, my sister, was deemed unfit to take care of her. She lived in a drug house and overall sucked. I won't go into details, but she was not a fit parent. We told my kids stories of her mother before she went off the deep end, and I thought we made it pretty clear why she couldn't see her. When my daughter was 14, my sister was getting back into contact with the family and seemed to be clean. I met up with her and didn't like what I saw. She took no responsibility and I decided to keep my daughter away. This resulted in her contacting her behind my back and trying to pick her up from school once. The cops were called. She wanted to meet her mom, but I didn't think it was a good idea and was proven correct 6 months later when she stole from our mother. She went back to drugs, but sometimes would randomly text my kid. My kid was in therapy when this was happening. When my kid was 17, my sister passed away, overdose, and I singed her up for grief counseling. The first time my kid saw her was at the viewing. She wanted to go. The issue now is my kid is 20 and in college. She is upset that she never knew her bio mom. It has been an argument, and I wanted her to go back to therapy. We got into an argument yesterday over it. I asked her what she wanted to eat, and she told me to eat with her bio mom, but she can't have that because I didn't allow them to meet. I snapped. I have been dealing with this for years at this point, and told her that her bio mom didn't love there more than drug, and that is why she never met her. It's not my fault she loved drugs more than her, and I am done being blamed for it. She was pissed and crying since. My husband thinks it needed to be said, and he has been going on too long. I feel like shit though. It is incredibly painful to be the constant punching bag for a child's displaced grief, but was snapping with such a brutal truth about her biological mother a step too far. How would you have handled this impossible situation? Let me know your thoughts down below. Next story. Being a 140-pound guy who can effortlessly polish off an entire large pizza while your friends try to split a single pie 4 ways is definitely a struggle. Let's get right into this food dilemma from user dry necessary 5451 titled WIBTA for asking my friends to order an extra pizza just for me. So oftentimes when me and my friends get together, usually for a movie night or similar, we'll order a pizza from either Little Caesars or Domino's. We all agree on the type of pizza because we're all a fan of classic pepperoni. The problem with this though is that I never think they order enough. In a group of 4 of us, they'd normally order just 1 pizza and maybe some breadsticks. Anytime I suggest that they order more sides or just more in general, they tend to just ignore me or say that 1 is definitely enough. In the past, they've all commented on how they think I eat too much in general. Not necessarily in regards to pizza because we all split it evenly and get 2 slices each. Like, when we go to restaurants together, they'll usually say something about how they think I order way too much, even though I always finish it all. For reference, if I'm ordering for myself, I will eat an entire large Little Caesars pizza. So whenever they get a single pizza for everyone, I end up feeling hungry for the night. I'm not overweight or like a huge glutton. Heck, I weigh like 140 pounds at 5 feet 11, so I really am just eating enough to sustain myself. Whoever is hosting the movie night or other similar event pays for the pizza, and we rotate hosts pretty evenly. That's not flexible. They're all pretty stubborn about the host paying, so I can't just offer to pay for my share. So part of me thinks that it isn't fair for me to ask one of my friends to order a whole extra pizza just because I eat a lot more than they do. My question is, WIBTA, if I started asking them to order an extra pizza just for myself. They've all already expressed that they think I eat too much, so I don't really want to make them uncomfortable, and if I'm not hosting, I would be making someone pay for a pizza that only I eat. Would it be totally rude to make the host pay for a whole extra pizza just for you, or should you just start bringing your own food? Let me know below. Next story. Getting assigned a roommate who is allergic to your registered guide dog is a massive administrative failure, but who is actually responsible for fixing it? Let's get right into this college housing conflict from user penalty box gremlin, titled AITA for refusing to move after my new roommate told me she's allergic to dogs. I, 21F, live in an on-campus apartment with 3 roommates. I'm legally blind and have a guide dog. Housing has known about my guide dog for years, and this will be my 3rd year living in these apartments with her. Earlier this summer, Housing moved me from one apartment building to another because my old building was being renovated. I didn't ask to move, and I was actually out of state at guide dog training when it happened, so my friends had to pack and move everything I owned. I've now been living in the new apartment for about 2 months. Everything is unpacked, including my mini fridge, my guide dog's crate, and all of her supplies. I've also already learned the new route to campus from this building. One of my roommates moved in a few days ago. I had planned to go back and clean before she arrived, but I got a high fever and couldn't make it back. I emailed her, apologized, explained I was sick, and asked her to leave my belongings where they were until I could return. She replied saying she's severely allergic to dogs. I completely understand that allergies are serious, and I don't blame her for bringing it up. She suggested that I switch apartments with one of her friends in another building. The problem is I'd already been moved once this summer, everything was unpacked, and I have a lot to move, including a mini fridge, my guide dog's crate, and all of her supplies. Since I'm visually impaired, I'd also have to learn a completely new route to campus again. I also don't have the people available to help me move a second time. I told her I honestly didn't think Housing would move me again since they'd already relocated me once, but that I'd ask. She then emailed Housing saying that she, her friend, and I had all voluntarily agreed to switch room assignments. The problem is that I never agreed to move. I only said I didn't think Housing would approve another move for me. I contacted both my area coordinator and Housing to explain that I had not agreed to move and wasn't comfortable moving again after already being relocated this summer. Housing later told me that I do not have to move and that because my guide dog accommodation was already on file, it would be up to my roommate to request a room reassignment if she wanted one. I'm currently waiting for Housing to let me know when everything is resolved before I return to my apartment. I feel bad because I know severe allergies are a legitimate issue, and I don't think my roommate is wrong for needing accommodations. At the same time, I don't think it's fair that I was expected to move a second time after already being relocated, unpacking everything, and getting settled. So, AITA for refusing to move? The housing department clearly dropped the ball by ignoring the accommodation forms, but now these 2 students are stuck in a highly incompatible situation. Should the author have agreed to move to help out the allergic roommate, or is the roommate the one who needs to pack up and leave? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Next story. When your new mother-in-law refers to you as that girl at your own wedding and deliberately goes behind your back, things are bound to get petty. Let's get right into this family drama from user PlayfulCat8738 titled AITA for asking our wedding photographer to remove a family photo from our gallery after my MIL specifically asked for it. My husband and I recently got married, and there has been tension between me and his family for years. I won't unpack all of the history, but I've often felt like I'm tolerated as his partner rather than actually viewed as part of their family. Because of that history, my husband and I specifically discussed family formals before the wedding. We agreed we wanted both of us included in the formal family portraits. If we took photos with my family, he was included. If we took photos with his family, I was included. We were getting married, and we wanted the portraits to reflect that. To be clear, I do not expect to be in every photo my husband takes with his family. I don't care if he takes pictures alone with his mom or siblings. This was specifically about the formal portraits at our wedding and what they represented. There was one grouping we specifically did not want. my husband, his mom, and siblings without me. Our photographer knew this. I was there for basically all of the family formals, but stepped inside briefly to get a drink. During the few minutes I was gone, that exact photo was taken. Fast forward to receiving our wedding gallery. We posted some photos online, and my MIL called asking if we'd gotten the gallery back, despite clearly knowing we had. She asked for the link and specifically said she wanted the photo of herself with all of her children. The one formal family photo I wasn't in. That already bothered me, but something my bridesmaid told me after the wedding made it worse. She had been helping organize family photos and told my MIL she was needed for another picture. MIL didn't want to take it without all of her children, which is completely fair, but she pointed toward me and said, "Well, I already took pictures with that girl." That girl, being her son's wife, at our wedding. That's why this isn't about needing to be in every picture. It's not really about the picture at all. It's the principle. I wanted to feel valued enough that my husband's family would want me in their family portrait. Instead, I'm being referred to as that girl, and the photo my MIL specifically wanted from our wedding was the one formal family portrait where I wasn't included. In any other context, I wouldn't think twice about a mom wanting a photo with her children. But given the history, her comment, and the fact that my husband and I had specifically agreed we didn't want that grouping at our wedding, it felt different. So after she asked for it, I contacted our photographer and had the photo removed from the online gallery. I know it was petty. The photo exists, and I'm obviously not saying my husband can never take a picture with his family without me. I just don't want that particular photo in our wedding gallery when it represents the exact dynamic that has made me feel excluded for years. AITA, the mother-in-law completely disrespected her, but is wiping the photo from the gallery a justified boundary or just unnecessarily petty? Who do you think is in the wrong here? Let me know your verdict below. Next story. Grief makes people hold on tightly to the past, but trying to dictate what your parent chooses to do with their own remains is a recipe for a massive family blowout. Let's get right into this heavy situation from user Sister and Dadisu 3056 titled AITA for telling my sister to grow up and get over what our dad wants to do. My sister and I lost our mom when we were kids. She passed away while we were in middle school, and our dad was a single parent until he started dating again when we were both in college. Our mom has a gravesite, and for years our dad had purchased the plot next to hers so he could be buried beside her when he died. That is no longer the plan. He remarried, and although his wife is a nice woman, my sister and I have never been particularly close to her. What I do know is that my dad loves her very much. My sister believes he should have never remarried. Our dad recently had a health scare which made him rethink what he wants after he dies. He now wants to be cremated instead of being buried next to our mother. Personally, I don't care what he decides, it's his choice. My sister, however, did not take it well. He told us over dinner and the two of them got into a huge argument about it. Since then, my sister has been giving him the silent treatment and has tried to get me to tell him he's making the wrong decision. That led to an argument between us. I told her to grow up and accept that it's his decision. She called me a heartless dick and accused me of not defending our late mother. I told her it's been over 20 years and she needs to get the fuck over it. Was his delivery too cruel, or does the sister just need a harsh reality check? Let me know below. Next story. Demanding that your soon-to-be ex-husband risk his job security to fund a vacation you can't afford is a wild level of entitlement. Let's get right into this messy relationship drama from user Lower Impact 6437 titled AITA for not paying for my ex's holiday. I, 38M, got into a big fight with my soon-to-be ex-wife, 42F, because I won't pay for her to travel for her friend's 50th birthday. A bit of context, just over a month ago, my ex came to me and said she wanted to travel to her hometown to celebrate her friend's 50th birthday and asked me if I will be able to look after the kids during that time. I spoke to my work and all seemed to be okay. I leave home an hour before the kids' school starts and get back 3 hours after their school closes. This means I will have to be 2 hours late due to traffic and leave 3 hours early on the days she will be gone. My ex also asked if you could lend her the money for the trip as she can't afford it and will pay me back when a project finishes. Jump to the current, the head of the department resigned and the new head is starting on one of the days she will be gone. As such, I can't be late or leave early as this will reflect badly, and HR revoked my leave for that day. I explained this to her and informed her she will have to cut her trip short and return on the Sunday instead of the Tuesday. The birthday in question is the Saturday. She then proceeded to shout at me and tell me I am selfish and I need to make a plan. This spiraled to the point that she told me she doesn't care about my job security and the repercussions of me coming in late on those days in question. Yesterday, she told me she has made a plan with people I don't know well to transport the children on the Monday. I said to her that as I explained, Monday was out of the question and won't work for me. She informed me that it's tough, and she is going. So I said that is fine, but I won't be lending her the money then, as she has shown that my job that gave me the money is not important to her. Now I am selfish and an asshole because I won't pay for her to go on a trip when she can't afford it. So AITA? Is he completely justified in cutting off the funding after she completely disregarded his job? Or should he have covered the trip to keep the peace? Let me know below. Next story! When a 5-year-old is moments away from a bathroom emergency and won't fit into a standard stall, using the accessible option seems like the only choice. But what happens when you get ambushed by an angry bystander? Let's get right into this public restroom debate from userdefiant_flan8925 titled AITA for using the accessible bathroom stall with a child. Today, I, 30F, took my son, 5M, to a children's museum. He urgently needed to use the bathroom to poop, like he was going to poop himself. We were booking it for the toilet. He is a fresh 5, so he isn't quite an efficient wiper, therefore I am still on wiping duty when he poops. We could not find a family bathroom, so I brought him into the women's room. We tried to use a regular stall, but they were legitimately too small for us to both fit, let alone for me to be able to wipe him. We moved to the accessible stall. There was no one else in the bathroom at all. We couldn't have been in the stall more than 2 minutes. When we left the stall, a woman started laying into me about taking him in there when it was not meant for us. How I should be teaching my son better, and I was setting a bad example. She needed it for her colostomy bag, and I 100% understand why that stall would be the one she needed. If she had been there when we got in the bathroom, we would have tried harder to make the little stall work or something. I'm not even sure what, but something. I felt absolutely horrible, and still do, but I also don't feel like I was necessarily in the wrong for using it when I needed it to assist my son. I'm not sure. I feel like an a-hole, but I'm also conflicted because it is also meant for people to use with kids and there was no one else there when we went it. So AITA for taking my son into the accessible stall. Edit. Thanks for all the kind comments. I do feel better and less asshole-ish. I'm sure it was frustrating for her, especially if her bag was full. I know the importance of emptying it when it needs to. My stepmom had one. And the health risk associated if not emptied in a timely manner, but I really don't think I was wrong for using the stall. I did apologize profusely because I felt so bad. Also saw this mentioned a lot, but yes, it was a stall with a changing table in it, so another reason to assume it was okay for family use too. Was she wrong to use the larger stall for an urgent child wiping emergency? Or should accessible stalls remain completely off limits to anyone without a physical disability? Let me know below. Next story. Missing your flight because you decided to go for a 3-hour hike and grab coffee on the day of departure is wild, but whose fault is it when your group finally leaves without you? Let's get right into this travel drama from user suspiciousbread693 titled AITA, We Left Our Friend in Another Country. So a couple years ago, me and 3 other lads went on a holiday to Cyprus. We all get along great and have done for 4 years whilst in uni. This one guy in our group, we'll call him Ellis. He is the type of guy that says he'll meet us at the train station at 8 a.m. and at 7:30 we'll give him a ring and he's just hopping in the shower and leaving. He'd be late for his own graduation/wedding/funeral. So after 5 days of sunbathing, drinking, and eating good food, it's our final day. We're all chilling in the villa and Ellis decides to go for a hike. No stress, we have 7 hours to leave. He heads off and we say we'll get all his stuff in the car ready to go. It was all packed anyways. 3 hours go by and we give Ellis a call saying he needs to turn back now. He says no problem and starts his journey back. He's having a coffee at a cafe. Another 2 hours go by, we call Ellis and he says he's on his way back. He doesn't sound like he's moving. We check his location. He's at a cafe like a 3-hour walk away. It's a Sunday, we don't know any taxi rank's number or anything, so we give him a call saying that he needs to get a lift back to the apartment or meet us at the airport. No worries lads, I'll run back. We try and plead for him to just get a taxi, but he's frugal and won't get a taxi, so we text him saying his suitcase is at the villa, and we'll have to leave as our taxi was booked at the last minute anyway. He says, that's fine, I'll make it back in time. He didn't even try to make it back quickly. 3 hours later, we're sat on the plane and we get a flurry of texts. I'm back now, where are you? When's the taxi coming to pick me up? We just had to say we got on the plane, and he needs to get the next one. He was fuming. His parents and girlfriend kicked off at us. I can't help but feel like he deserved it. The guys warned him multiple times and packed his bags, but at the end of the day, they still left their friend stranded in a foreign country. On the flip side, his chronic lateness and refusal to get a taxi caused the entire mess. Who is actually to blame here? Let's argue about it in the comments. Moving right along. When your brother-in-law and his teenage daughters move into your house and treat your daughter's bedroom like a communal sharing closet, setting boundaries is a must. But what happens when installing a simple bedroom lock sparks an all-out family civil war? Let's get right into this chaotic household drama from user only in Quebec 9 titled AITA for telling my wife the lock on my daughter's door does not get removed till my brother-in-law and his daughters are out of our house. My brother-in-law, Sammy, lost his home shortly after his divorce 10 months ago. He moved in with us and brought his twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane, 18, with him a couple of months ago. His sister, my wife, and I have one daughter, Zoe, 16, and she and her cousins aren't close but get along fine. Olivia and Sloane have no respect for Zoe's privacy, none. They used to walk into her room and take everything they get their hands on. Makeup, phone accessories, clothes, school laptop, etc. Zoe complained a lot, and I've already asked the girls to respect Zoe's privacy and stop taking things. My wife and Sammy saw no issue with this. After all, they're girls, and this is typical teenage girls' behavior. I completely disagreed. Last straw was when Zoe bought a $60 MAT makeup kit that looks like a paint set that she saved up for over a month, and one of the girls, Sloane, took it without permission and ruined it by mixing shades together while using it. Don't know much about makeup, but that's what Zoe said when she found the kit on her bed and was crying. I told my wife and she said she'd ask Sloane to apologize, but I got Zoe a lock after I found she was moving valuable belongings out the house because of this incident. Sammy and his daughters saw the lock and weren't happy. The girls were extremely upset. Sammy asked about it and I straight up told him. He said, "My daughters aren't thieves. It's normal that girls of the same age borrow each other's stuff." He said Zoe could easily get another makeup kit for $15 from Walmart and shouldn't even be buying expensive adult makeup in the first place, and suggested my wife take care of this defect in Zoe's personality, trying to appear older than she is. He accused me of being overprotective and babying Zoe with this level of enablement. I told him this is between me and my wife, but she shamed me for putting a lock on Zoe's door for her cousins to see, and preventing them from spending time with her, saying I was supposed to treat them like daughters, then demanded I remove it, but I said this lock does not get removed till her brother and his daughters are out of our house. She got mad I was implying we kicked them out and said her family will hate me for this. So I reminded her that I let Sammy and his family move in, which is something her own family refused to do. So she should start with shaming / blaming them for not taking their own son and nieces / granddaughters in. If it wasn't for her family's unwillingness to help, we wouldn't be dealing with this much disturbance at home. Everyone's been giving me and Zoe silent treatment, and my wife is very much upset over this. Was he totally justified in protecting his daughter's space and belongings from being ruined by freeloading relatives, or did he go too far by giving an ultimatum about kicking them out? Let me know below.